All right with you, I'd like to share a little bit of my background and how I came to know the law of attraction and how the changes it's made in my life. That's a bit of an example. Is that all right with you all if I share?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I began working with the law of attraction actually about 10 years ago, but I didn't know it was called that at the time. My father had just died, and through his passing, I became aware of my spirituality in a way I never had been before. And I began to see myself on a whole new level, a mind, body, spirit level. And my life hasn't been the same since. Now, I had been promoting wellness and fitness as a fitness instructor and as a journalist, but I suddenly became interested in holistic health and decided I wanted to learn more. And it seemed as soon as I made that decision, a series of coincidences brought me in contact with many different spiritual teachers and holistic therapists who each shared their very generously shared their time, insight, and knowledge with me. And I became fascinated, and I set out to learn this all I could. You know, I immersed myself in workshops, I was reading voraciously, and just putting myself, putting all I was learning into practice. And the benefits became evident almost immediately, because I found I had much less need for Tylenol and Rolaids, which had been my way of dealing with the stress of raising 4 teenagers and working 2 jobs. So because I was having the successes, I began writing a series of holistic articles for the newspaper I worked for. And I soon noticed a common thread weaving all these therapies together, the belief that every thought we think and every action we take has an impact on our bodies, and that our thoughts are hugely important in our lives, determining not only our health, but also whether or not we achieve our goals. So I approached these therapies with a journalistic curiosity, but also with a journalistic skepticism, because I wanted proof. And so I decided to target a health issue I was dealing with and really put it to the test. So I had had a sinus condition for many, many years and was on daily medicine, which had resulted in developing polyps in my nose, which I was now slated to have surgically removed, and which made me very nervous. And that was my target, to get rid of that. And so I was very motivated, and I worked very, diligently with the therapies, primarily Reiki I was working with at the time. And I have to tell you, the results were astounding, because within a few months, the symptoms were completely gone. And I had been on medicine every single day. I didn't need the medicine any longer. And then shortly thereafter, the polyps disappeared, so I didn't require the surgery either. So I had my proof. I was sold. And I was thrilled to have all these new healing tools in my tool belt. And that was enough for me initially. And then I began receiving feedback from people who were really benefiting from all the articles I've been writing. And I realized how many people were still unaware of all the holistic options that were available to them. And just a burning desire began to grow inside of me. And I just had the strongest yearning to really share what I had learned with the world, like taking it beyond just the scope of this little newspaper. So I decided to write a book. This book. Relief Beyond Belief, Exploring the World of Natural Healing. But deciding to write a book is one thing, and actually doing it is another. And I soon realized it was daunting. I didn't know, what to do. So that's when the law of attraction really began to kick in for me. Because I began I heard about how using affirmations and visualization could help you achieve your goals. So I used these techniques while I continued my research. Now, to write my book, I interviewed 30 different holistic therapists who each shared with me techniques that have helped countless thousands of people around the world throughout the ages, live happier, healthier lives. And I experienced every therapy that I wrote about personally, and I found that I was becoming healthier and happier in the process. And I also found that I seemed to be just kind of magically attracting to myself all the right people I needed for my project, including my publisher. And within a year, the book was written and published, and I had begun giving public talks like this, promoting holistic health and telling people about my book. And that was wonderful. It was very exciting for me. I was also doing health fairs and things at the same time. And I was just continuing to live my passion and my purpose, and my life was getting better and better. And that was enough for a while. And then I decided again I wanted to reach even more people than I was and make it available just to everyone just freely, you know. So I went and talked to Kojiko Cable and arranged to host and produce a TV talk show based on my book where I brought local therapists onto the show to talk about their holistic therapy. And I did that, ran bi-weekly for 2 years. And again, very fulfilling, meeting wonderful people. You know, my life was getting better and better. I was continuing my studies, and I became a Reiki master, and a yoga instructor, and a crystal therapist. And, you know, my life again was just getting more and more fulfilling to me. And then the economic downturn happened, and the newspaper I was working for folded, and so I found myself out of a job. So I decided to really continue pursuing my passion. So I decided to channel all of my energy into promoting these ideas. So I started producing a magazine called Relief Beyond Belief, and everything sort of based around the book. And I circulated that. That was a quarterly publication, which was freely distributed and from Ottawa to Toronto. And again, I was having a wonderful time getting deeper and deeper into this, meeting phenomenal people. And one day I picked up a book called Ask and It Is Given by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And I discovered that the law of attraction was the force behind all this attracting I've been doing, which I didn't know at the time. And so that sort of set me off on a slightly different path. And I threw myself into that, you know, reading everything I could get my hands on and putting it into practice. And it just kind of really clarified even more for me that this is what I wanted to do. So my passion shifted from just teaching about holistic health to also teaching people how they could work with these natural laws to create a better life for themselves. And then The Secret burst onto the scene. And lucky for me, because it brought into my sphere, like as close as Toronto, some of the fabulous teachers who were featured in the film, and I got to train and study with many of them. And just to learn techniques that I could share with people, which I've been doing with workshops and with talks. And it actually led to me creating a second book, which is actually a 3-part system. It's a wishful thanking manifestation system, which is a book about the law of attraction, and it's also a guided journal which teaches you about your chakras, your energetic body, and also takes you through daily steps to keep you in the state of mind you need to be in to kind of create the kind of things you want in your life. And it also includes a guided meditation. So I created that, and then I created a blog so I could promote these ideas worldwide. It's an interactive blog, which I'll give you all cards for. I invite you to drop by and take advantage of all the wonderful free material I have available. So that kind of brings you up to speed with where I'm at now. I'm not doing the TV show or the magazine now. I'm just focusing on the blog and promoting these ideas.